Izzo told you, give them their flowers, give them a bouquet of roses. Jackson Kohler at 20 tonight. We saw Kurtang come off the bench for 15.
From where?
From don't claim Boston anymore. You can only
Massachusetts, baby.
You're only allowed to celebrate Charleston these days.
Rivals guy.
Kurtang and Trey Fort made some threes, right? We saw Jesse McCullough out of nowhere.
Yes.
It's a good thing we had Norm there because both of us were like, who the hell is this dude coming off the bench?
Norm's like, he redshirted.
But the best player on the floor, and I think the best player in the gym tonight, Jeremy Fears. 8 points, 6 rebounds. I think he took 4 shots, 13 assists, Norm.
Totally controlled the game. Controlled the game from minute one. I was really worried about that. I thought that Kentucky would pressure him so much to make him turn it over because he's the guy. When you play a Michigan State team, their point guard is going to have the ball 80% of the time. And he did a great job of controlling tempo, getting the ball to the right people at the right time. He didn't have to take shots to be the most dominant player in the game. Defensively, he was terrific. But I thought Tang, scoring and making the shots that he made and spreading the floor, him and Fort. Because Tang now, you got to remember, against Arkansas, Tang got benched. He didn't play. He played early, didn't play well, and Izzo benched him. And for that guy to come back and to play the way he played in this big moment here, that looks really good for Michigan State.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're just a team built on continuity, and there aren't many of those anymore around. So you've got to have just of continuity, right? You better have enough talent.
Yep.
And I think that's one thing Michigan State has, and you've seen it now. Again, the progression of these guys. We know if you give Tom Izzo enough time to work with a kid, what's he going to do, Norm? He's going to get better.
He's
going to get better. And generally, he does a pretty good job of evaluating in his staff. They've been with him, a lot of them, for a while.
Yep.
He's got some new guys, but they do a good job of evaluating who fits for Tom Izzo. And you look at Fears. You look at Kohler. You look at Carson Cooper. You look at Tang. Like, some of these guys, they're Tom Izzo type guys. And if you give him something different right now at this point in his career, it's not going to work.
Tom Izzo has a system, and he gets players to fit that system, be it a shooter, be it a point guard, be it a wing. His teams are always going to play hard, and I thought they played in a flow. They played comfortable. And while we were sitting there watching, I said, look how they're moving the ball, getting the ball to wherever they want to, getting it inside, because Kohler really got them off to a good start. And, so don't underestimate what Cooper did. Cooper is so much a better athlete than what people think. I mean, he can block shots, rebound. He tried to take off on that one dunk that was going to be terrific. And then you got Carr, who is a freak athlete. But
he's now like at some skill level.
Yes.
Like, that's the thing.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. When you talk about the development, right? You look at a guy like Cohen Carr and you're like, okay, that's kind of the picture of what Tom Izzo can do for a player.
Yeah,
but you got to keep him. You got to keep him.
But I think part of it with Izzo is when they come there, and it's kind of like Bill Self where you were, very similar. I always kind of put Izzo and Self in the same kind of grouping, other than Bill doesn't complain quite as much as Izzo does. But I think, again, you look at the way those guys develop, and again, Cohen Carr has done such a great job. But he's going to work, like, he's a worker. Yeah. And you know that. And they're not going to leave because they know what they signed up for when they went there.
Yep. He's toughness, too. He's always going to be he's always going to have guys that are tough players. We were talking about Cooper being from Jackson. Did we say Jackson, the Michigan? Okay, and we're talking about, where the heck is Jackson, Miss? He gets those guys maybe coming out of small towns, not as highly recruited, and he knows they fit his system. Give him 2 years to work with him, and we can compete against him.
I remember seeing him here, Carson Cooper, a couple of years ago at one of the first one he played in the Champions Classic, and saying, this kid ain't good enough. And you know what? He stuck with him, and he was loyal, and we all questioned it, right? We all questioned, why are you sticking with some of these bigs? They're not good enough. And he doesn't run dudes off.
Nope.
He just doesn't. He feels like it's his responsibility, right, to, if he took these kids, to make sure that they're good enough, and he's not going to run them off.
Well, I mean, this is what we see out of Michigan State, I feel like, every year, right? We come into a season and we question, do they have enough bigs? Did he do
But
enough
they were
in the
kind of
portal?
average there for a couple years in their league. If you
They
remember,
were
barely making the tournament.
But they were doing a lot of that stuff, and it was like freshman and sophomore year Jackson Kohler, and now we got senior year Jackson Kohler, and the kid is tough. He's playing with a huge scratch on his neck. Carson Cooper has a black eye from practice and a bloody nose from the game today. They're physical, and like Jackson Kohler looks like the kind of dude that's gonna like be like, "Hey, what's up, buddy?" And then he goes out there and he tries to dunk on you and he makes threes in your face, and he's gonna talk shit. He's gonna let you know all about it. Like these are Tom Izzo guys, and I think that when it's striking watching them play against Kentucky, because you got a team in Kentucky where it looks, and we'll get into this conversation a lot, but it kind of looks like they're playing for the paycheck. Whereas with Michigan State, every single one of those guys is playing for that name right there on the front of the jersey, man. And I don't think that it's very easy to celebrate what people get out of the portal. And we talk about continuity all the time, and people make fun of us for it, Goodman. But continuity, that is what matters. Why is it so important, Norm? You've been in these programs. You've been in these locker rooms.
Well, don't underestimate having 4 guys who were basically starters last year playing for him. And they had a great season last year, better than what people thought they were going to be and everything. So those guys just take that and they get better and better and better. And those guys can show the young guys, hey, the Cam Wards and those guys, hey, this is how we do things. This is how we play. This is how we react to coach in practice. Hey, when coach is getting on to you, this is what he really means. He's trying to make you better. Those conversations will help those young guys, which you saw tonight, help those guys grow. And it just helps the whole program. And it's the way college basketball used to be. And now we go with the quick fixes and those things. And let me tell you something, it's hard. I know we're going to talk about Kentucky, but it's hard to get guys for 4 months or 3 months and teach them your culture, your commitment, your everything you want to do scheme-wise. That's tough to teach in a 4-month span or a 5-month span.
My big question now is, was this a one-off for Michigan State shooting the ball like this? I mean, they haven't done it in a year in 3 games.
I will say, Goodman,
they're not going to shoot like
that.
This,
shooting 52% from 3 is probably going to be a little bit better than what they do.
35% from 3 instead of 20 or 30% from 3. Can they be a average 3-point shooting team? I think Izzo would take that right now.
I think they can be, and I think they can be a good 3-point shooting team because they're taking good shots. The right guys are taking the shots. The shots they took tonight, they really weren't under duress. Most of the time.
But is that Michigan State, or was that just how bad Kentucky's defense was for the first 20?
Yes, the answer is yes.
I think they played to short closeouts. They said, let's see if they can make shots. Coming into the game, Michigan State was shooting 21% from the 3.
Yeah.
I've watched 3 games on them, and I would say.
But how many threes does it take before you're like, okay, maybe we got to get out there?
Well, look, I'll say this. I think it's fair to say that Pope's scout, the way that you wanted to defend him, I would have liked to see them be a little bit more physical and kind of take him out of what Michigan State wants to run. But daring them to shoot is like kind of the way to play Michigan State right now, right? And what just happened was the guys made shots. And sometimes dudes are going to make shots. I think what was more telling was Kentucky's reaction to what happened when those shots went in. Real quick, I want to ask you guys 2 things. Goodman, I'm going to start with you on this. Where do you now see Michigan State in this Big Ten pecking order? Because we've seen Purdue go into Alabama and beat Alabama. And we've seen Illinois, they beat Texas Tech at home. They're going to have a test here on the day after Thanksgiving with UConn. But Illinois, and they get, I think, Alabama tomorrow night, right? But
yes,
Illinois looks very, very real at this point in the season. We know how good Wisconsin is. Michigan is still ranked in the top 10. They got some things they got to work. Like the top of the Big Ten is really, really good. Where does Michigan State stand in that pecking order for you?
2A or 2B. Purdue's the number 1 for me. Until proven otherwise, Purdue's the best team in the Big Ten and still one of the elite teams in the country. Then I think you go down. Illinois, to me, is more like tantalizing. Like they have that upside that we just don't know. With Michigan State, I think you know what you're going to get other than the shooting almost every night. You can't say that about Illinois yet.
Yep.
I would say I'd have to go with Purdue being 1. I really love how they play, and obviously a great point guard and a great big guy, Kaufman ran. And then I'd probably say Illinois. I think Illinois is 2. And I think Michigan
Norm made
State
a paycheck from Illinois for a while.
Yeah, exactly. Fighting the line on it. And then I'd probably say Michigan third. No, I think I go with Michigan
I was going to
State.
say, how you
I go with
you
Michigan
really,
State because I'm not sure about Michigan.